Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about, I know it's kind of oldish news within the Ranger community, but we're going to be talking about would 3 different shows be that bad for Power Rangers and what it would entail. So if you like that sort of content and you want to hear and see more, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, check out the merch, and with that, let's jump straight in. So we know that there are some shows coming out. We know there is possible too with the Netflix with Jonathan Entwistle, and then obviously we know that there is an animated show that has been confirmed by the former CEO of Hasbro that was in the investors call ages ago. But again, would 3 shows? So we're going to talk about maybe an extra one. I can't remember, it's been such a long time. So it's mainly Netflix, the animated show, and a kids show. So let's jump in. Now, most of this will be rumored, or it was when I wrote this. So Jonathan Entwistle, we know that he's making one, and that's absolutely fine. I'm very much looking forward to it. Possible kids show, we know that that's going to come along because at the moment there's quite a lot of stuff coming along from it, and then obviously an animated show. But would they be that bad? So we'll talk about the kids show first. When I think of a kids show, at the moment the way that comedy is and the way that the shows like for kids are is mainly you've got stuff like Teen Titans Go, Thundercats Roar, you've got that Aquaman one that's coming out soon as well. But when I was kind of looking at it, I felt like if they're going to do kind of a kids show, then you're going to be looking at, say, the style of Thundercats Roar, Teen Titans Go. But then I kind of had a look at the first episode, at least, of the Spider-Man show, which is Spidey and the Power of 3. My kind of, if I had to put money on at least 2 of these shows, one would be the Thundercats Roar / Teen Titans Go type thing, and then definitely one being Spidey and his 3 friends. Now, when I started watching Spidey and his 3 friends, mainly all you got was that they had to stop bad stuff from happening, and I think the episode I watched, I got halfway through, was the one where they all had to make plans to kind of stop it. So you had Miles, you had Gwen, and you had Peter trying to stop the Rhino, and it didn't kind of work that well. And after that, it was just kind of that they stopped him from running in and figured out gold coins, and it was a really bad show. But it was more that rather than they web sling, it'd be like, let's go to the spider base. And I imagine that the show would go down that sort of road a lot more than anything to me, because it felt like that's what Hasbro would want and kind of portray more than, I'd say, like an animated show with Teen Titans Go and Thundercats Roar. It was that kind of obnoxious comedy. Teen Titans I've spoken about in other videos, which I find okay. Like as soon as they took themselves, like they took the piss out of themselves, that to me felt like it was 10 times better than anything, and Thundercats Roar was just horrible and didn't need to be. So I'm hoping that they don't go down that road or the route. If they did, then they wouldn't treat Power Rangers bad, because the second that they treat it bad, again, you're going to have a lot of angry fans, and I'm going to be making a fucking video all on that if that's the case. But I was kind of thinking more of like Spidey and his 3 friends is the way that I would go down, because it shows a lot more, and 3D animation would probably take a lot like quicker to do than like personal like hand animation or something like we've had with Thundercats Roar and Teen Titans Go. With watching Spidey and his 3 friends, it was more the morals that they put in the show that to me felt like would be the way to do, because Power Rangers always has that moral standing. They have their morals all the time. So for me to kind of see that, I was like, that makes more sense to me than it would do in anything else. If they did any of these sorts of shows, from animation to 3D, I don't think I could watch it. Like, I know I would watch maybe the first or second episode, but I know that I couldn't watch it all the way through, because as much as I am a big fan of it, like say with Thundercats, I couldn't watch Thundercats Roar because it just took the piss out of the show way too much for it to be a decent one. And that's what ruined it for me, that I wouldn't want to ever watch something like that. I'd watch 1 or 2 episodes to get a gist of it, but I think I would only talk about it briefly and then kind of move on. If they were to do proper 3D animation, I feel like this would be the way to go for their more mature audience. You know, Transformers is a decent show. You've got some other ones like Voltron, even though I don't think that's all 3D. But in general, that's not a bad series, and I can see them doing that one for an animated show. I would love it if they went through the DC type animation, because I really enjoy that. I feel like that would have a really good tone with Power Rangers, and I feel like even if you didn't make a TV series out of it and you just did films, it would work more. Like the just old school Justice League was great. You know, you've had some of the newer like DC films that actually are quite brutal. They're quite different and edgy and stuff, and I feel like that's the way that you would go. With, like, say, Marvel and that, it's slightly different for the way it is. But in general, I would love a DC animated series. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. I feel like you wouldn't have to do much to it for, like, say, relationship building or character building, because you already have that right now. So if you did Mighty Morphin, Time Force, Zeo, whatever, you still have that kind of connection bond, and you don't need to restart it. So you can easily just jump in and go, everybody knows who you are, everyone knows that you've been working together. And even if you did flashbacks to the original series, then I think that would be kind of cool. But I think in normal terms, you've already got that relationship started with people, and people love it either way. Anime is the ultimate goal that I think would suit Power Rangers down to a T because of the way it is. Now, I don't know if it would be more expensive to do that. I know it's quite expensive to have an anime. Guarantee if I had the money, I would actually want 1 or 2 anime things done randomly, which I think would be kind of cool. But I think anime would be too expensive and would take more time consuming considering what's going on. Now, if they decided to do it, I'd be more happier than anything, because I think, as I said, it would be perfect. You could have it on Crunchyroll, you could have it on whatever anime streaming service, you could have 12 episodes, which I think would generate stuff. I mean, we've got RWBY coming out. At the time when I wrote this, RWBY wasn't even on the radar for anime. So I feel like you could see how many episodes that gets. If that gets 12, if that gets 24. Do you remember the days of 24 anime? Oh, that was the day. But I feel like if you're going to have this sort of thing, then it would be a 12 episode season, which I think 12 episodes per season, pretty much okay. Can you imagine if they went 22? But I doubt it. But I think you'd get more told with anime. Either one of these ones, I don't think is a bad thing. I feel like it would be a good thing over time. But in general, if it helps the brand grow, I am all for what that does. I am quite surprised that none of this has been done before. I know that they did that animated show or short to kind of show up and say coming in cinemas, and it was nothing to do with Power Rangers, or it had the suits, but it didn't have like the Megazord wasn't the same or whatnot. So I'm really surprised that they've never done anything like this. You know, I feel like you would have had more money to go towards Bandai, Toei, Saban, that if they did this, it would be absolutely fantastic. But maybe at the time, Toei was like, no, you can't do this because we don't want this. But then considering the fact that Saban could have just done random Power Rangers, I'm very surprised he's not done it. Like, that's one thing you would want to experiment so you get more money effectively. So it's kind of a bit worrying, or a bit like, why didn't he think of that? With certain things such as like Thundercats Roar, Teen Titans Go, as well as Spidey and his 3 friends, I don't think it would do that well. I think it would definitely hit with one particular market that it's aimed for, but I feel like if it's not done right, it's gonna really piss a lot of people off. And I hope it doesn't, because I would like to see some more animated stuff. You know, we've not had it before, so it would be brand new territory, but I think the way that the show is, that you'd have to go more in depth in something else. So that's always a thing. Regardless of what you get, thing is, you're going to get haters. You're going to get people who are going to critique it, like I am going to do. I don't want this to be bad, but I have a feeling that it's going to be. But again, I know that it's not aimed at me. That's the one thing, is I know it's not aimed for me, so I'm fine with that. I will check it out to see what it's like. It might capture me. I might go, this is actually quite good. But if it goes through the Teen Titans, Thundercats Roar type look, or the type feel, I feel like I'm going to hate it. But that's all depends on how they're going to treat the property. If you went down the animated route, then you have a lot more maturity that you can do. Is it going to please everyone? No, it's not, because everyone has a different understanding of how mature it's going to be. Is it going to be something that everyone's going to enjoy? Again, yay or nay on that one. If you do, yes. If you don't, But either way, I feel like animation would be the way to go, because you can have more episodes, you can do more than the normal standard thing. You can do more stunts that obviously won't hurt people, but obviously it will just hurt the animator's hand or literally the mouse, depending on the computer. I don't know. Would I want to see it more mature? Yeah. Would I like to see it as in, like, say, as more mature as like the CW shows, like The Flash? Not exactly written like it, but the more maturity. Yeah. Would I love to see more, like, everything? I mean, we talked more about animation, but when it comes to like the Netflix series, do I want to see more mature stuff? Hell yeah. Like, I do. I want to see the brand grow. Like, that's the main thing. Would I think it would work like The Flash or like Arrow or something like that? Possibly, but I think it would be completely different. Is it going to be like I'm not okay with this and end of the effing world? Who knows? I kind of want it to be more like no, I'm not okay with this, because I feel like that was actually a decent show. Some things I would probably change, but in general, not a bad series for what it is. I feel like any of these shows would take in a new direction. I feel like it would be the best thing that you could do. I feel like it's something that would easily work, but it takes a lot of work. So I don't think it's going to be like that off the bat. But hey, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to leave it there. If this all works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm going to leave it there. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this sort of content and you want to hear and see more, hit the like button, hit subscribe, check out all the other videos on the channel, and also check out the merch. And if I don't see you tomorrow, then I will see you in a couple of days.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。